cattle future earnings and with all these Whitewater allegations, many of us Americans are having a hard time with your credibility. How can you earn our trust back? Is there a fundamental distrust of the Clintons in America?
Well, I hope not. I mean, that would be something that I would regret very much. You know, I came to this role having worked my entire life. I mean, I started working in the summers when I was 13. I always worked. I worked through college. I worked through law school. That's what I did. And after I married, I continued to work. And after my daughter was born, with the exception of the 4 months I took off for maternity leave, I worked. Yes.
On the subject of health care reform, two of the most controversial elements of the White House plan is the employer mandate and the mandatory health alliances. Do those two elements absolutely have to be in a final package in order for the president to sign it?
Well, you know, the president has made clear for many months that the bottom line is guaranteed insurance coverage for every American.
Suggested a broad-based tax as one means of funding health care reform beyond just the employer contribution alone. What would the White House view be of that?
We're not going to comment on the congressional process while it's going on. We're encouraging every committee to be as careful and innovative as they can be to come up with solutions to the health care crisis. So we want the Congress to work. Yes, yes.
Federal regulators have noted. Can you take us through your thought processes or contacts with the McDougals on Whitewater during that period of time?
Well, I really don't have anything to add specifically to that because I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to. As far as I know, Madison always made its required regulatory reports, and as far as I know, we always put in whatever money we were requested to put in.
Do you expect to give testimony to Congress or to the grand jury or anything on your activities in Whitewater?
I don't know, but we will fully cooperate as appropriate with whatever, you know, we're requested to do. Yes.
One of the things that Congress will be looking at when it begins the hearing, and one of the first reports expected out of this, however, to lead anyone to suspect there's any obstruction of justice involved or that the White House said anything, the people to call off their investigation or to think about it.
Not that I'm aware of, no. Yes.
Mrs. Clinton, can you tell us what you know about stories about shredding of Whitewater documents down in Arkansas?
Nothing.
Particularly at the gubernatorial mansion?
Oh, that didn't happen, and I know nothing about any other such stories.
You know nothing about documents related to Whitewater ever shredded anywhere that you know about or authorized or didn't authorize?
Absolutely not.
Do you have any greater appreciation of what Richard Nixon might have been going through back in '74? And what are your thoughts about him? How do you think history will judge him?
Oh, I don't know that it's time to start talking like that yet. I think that what I think we ought to be doing is praying for President Nixon. And, you know, from my perspective, you know, it was a year ago, April, that my father died at the age of 81. And so, you know, I'm just mostly thinking about his daughters right now. Who hasn't had one? Yes.
Do you think that the suspicions and questions which have come out of these matters has spilled over on that and affected people's ideas about just how honestly and efficiently government can deal?
I'm not surprised, and I'm not in any way concerned that we're at this point in the process. I think this is where we would likely be as we're dealing with one of the most important social issues in our country's history. So, thank you very much. Well, you know what? You know, one of the things that I didn't mention that influenced me is a friend of mine gave me a thesis the other day. Gosh, I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday about Eleanor Roosevelt's press conferences. She had 340 press conferences, right? 340 press conferences during the time.
You're my 10th First Lady.
I think, yeah, sounds like fun.
This is the most important thing you could do for the press to hear everything. You ought to have a law often once a month.
Well, you know, when I read Mrs. Roosevelt had done it 340 times, that made a big impression on me.
Now, Mrs. Roosevelt only invited women reporters. No, I don't think I can get away with it. No, you can have. Thank you.
Here we go. We went right through here. Thanks very much.
First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton held this news conference Friday. This was the first time the First Lady has held such a formal news conference. Ahead on C-SPAN 2, a joint subcommittee